Well, because how about a little bit of you know what, all right?
You're listening to The Daily Show.
The Daily Show?
The Daily Show
The Daily Show.
on Men's Radio.
Men's Radio.
Men's Radio
Men's Radio.
with Russ Kane.
Apparently, on my own. No idea where Neil is. Just probably doing stand-up. Maybe there's a sort of club round where he lives. Anywho, let's get kicking off. All right, good day, folks. Good day to you. Hi, everybody. I'm Russ Kane. This is The Daily Show, exclusive to Men's Radio Station. The lighting's a little spooky, don't you think? The lighting is a little spooky. Let's go straight across to northeastern United States. Good day, folks. Hi, everybody. I know they don't talk like that. I know that is Texas. I know, because my son lives there. However, neither here nor there. Hi, Aza. And from there, from the mighty swathes of land in the northeastern United States, we go straight to somewhere a little bit closer to home. Francine Warner. Hello, Fran. Let's go from Francine Warner somewhere in London. We don't exactly know where. And let's go up to Fife in Scotland. Greetings, one and all. Dave Sleet. Obviously, he's not even Scottish, but it's like a thing. You know him. You love him. Why? I don't know. It's Neil Long.
Hello.
There he is. How are you?
Good afternoon. Welcome to MRS.
Well, yeah, thanks. Yeah, thanks. Everything. What's going on? What's happening? What's happening? What's occurring?
Well, it's my second radio show today, and I did a storming comedy gig over the weekend.
Do you want to expand? Should we go to New York? We've been to Folkestone, United States.
Folkestone, 150 people, absolutely stormed it.
We're going to go where?
Folkestone.
150 people? Right. She just woke up.
Morning, Elizabeth.
Where the hell am I? I don't know where I'm in New York. Hello, Elizabeth Green. Just woke up and good morning. Your mate, Robert Van Buren. Hello, Russ and Neil. And he's so nice that he said it twice. So you've done a show already, which is why you look exhausted. To be honest with you, I'm being honest. I'm being open. And you did a storming gig at the weekend.
On Saturday, yes, I did.
Is that what we're saying?
Yes.
He's very distracted. I don't know. I'm going to have to get in the car, go to New Malden, give him a slap, come all the way back. What's going to happen? I, on the other hand, yesterday went to a book launch. And it was the book launch of a book, what I edited. And it is called Country Luxe, Luxe. It is so stunning. I didn't think it would be this. It's the second book from this person, Karen Obergard Farrell, who I used to work with. And we worked out yesterday. We've known each other. We used to work in the same ad agency since 1987. So she had a book launch. Yeah, 1987. She hasn't changed. I look like my grandfather, who I don't know what he looked like, but probably looked like this. And she looks exactly the same as when I met her. We used to work together in 1987. So she had the book launch. It was lovely to see her. She said some very nice things, and that was delightful. It was a long ass drive there and a long ass drive back, but it was well worth doing it. See, and
where was it?
Kind of in Surrey, in the middle of I don't know where, somewhere. God knows. If it wasn't for sat nav, I'd still be driving around trying to find it. No, it wasn't Grand Pack, and I'm not putting that message up. Thank you very much. No, it was not. It was in Surrey, which is very, very inland. I'm not putting that message up, Graham. I'm surprised. So your gig went well. That's the main thing.
Yes, it really did.
You're very monosyllabic today. What's the matter? He's gone now.
I'm taking it all in and listening. No, the gig went fantastically well, thank you.
You disappeared.
It was like stepping back in time. It was like going back into an episode of Life on Mars. It was very 70s kind of room.
Where are you? We can only hear you. We can't see you. He's disappeared. It's just me now, looking mad.
You can't see me?
No, you've disappeared, fella.
That's
Julie
weird.
Voice. Hello, darling. Afternoon to you. That was for long. It was for longest. Right. You come back. Come back.
I'm trying.
What's going on here? God Almighty! I'm not touching. I'm going to remove you. Come back in. There we go. The great Neil Long. There are days. There are days. Anyway, been a big it's for long, isn't it? That's very, very funny. It's been a big busy old day today. Up at the crack of noon. I have got until Christmas to deliver my next novel. Holy God. Neil Long is in the stream with audio only. Well, I'll take it. Are you there?
I
Come
don't
in.
know what's going on. I'm sorry. Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, Gene Metcalf, I can hear you at BFPO 24. Yeah, I can hear you, but we can't see you, and I like to see you because I like to see your happy little face. Right, that happy little face. The tech, you're right. It's the tech gremlins. Oh, there he is. Oh, for God's sake. See, it was
Just one
worth
little
it.
button click.
Look at that little happy face. That's not. Anyway, so it all went well. It was all good. I was saying today, just now, that I've got until Christmas to deliver my book, which is going to be a nightmare of scheduling. Growing the Celebrant business, because today I was doing a Facebook page and taking out adverts and stuff like that. And then got the one-man show, which you're coming to, I do believe, with your gang.
Love to.
On November the 5th. So this quarter, the tension in my stomach.
Quite a lot going on.
Well, Longy, it's like, I don't know. Here's the question for you. It's a
What you
serious
got?
question. Here's my question. All right. It puts on the most insane pressure. The pressure on me is insane right now. And we're growing the businesses, into the Sound Mind Radio Group. So there's 4 blooming things there. Why do we do it? Somebody asked me the other day, well, you've only got yourself to blame. Why do you do it? Why do we do these things?
We obviously want to.
Mm-hmm.
Is that too simple?
Well, bit. I was expecting kind of more from the king of NLP.
Okay. Are you doing things you want to do or feel you shouldn't do?
No, want to do. I don't have to do any of them. It's things that I want to do. I want to do the book. I want to be a celebrant. I want to grow men's radio and women's radio. And I want to do my stand-up. I do want to do them, but there's only me. So the question is, why do we put ourselves, oh, no, Graham, please, come on. No. Either you're a proper writer or you're just somebody who sits at a keyboard and does ChatGPT. And I can tell you that any book agent and any book editor would spot it a mile off. You can't use ChatGPT. It's a terrible misunderstanding of what it's for. You really can't. Francine is coming up with this while Neil thinks of a great answer. You want to push the boundaries? I guess I do.
Is it growth you're seeking?
Yes, it is. It's growth. And also, and you don't feel this because I'm quite a bit older than you are, Longy, but I hear the ticking clock. And I want to do the things that I want to do before it's too late.
Sure.
And I know that they're all work related, but although it is hard work, it's a lot of effort. It's not like, oh God, it's work. It's tough and you got to drive yourself, but it's work that you love, I love all of it. I don't love the tech on men's radio. The stuff going on behind the scenes, which Neil, I don't show any of it to Neil because it's just horrendous. We're switching. I'll give you one sentence. We're switching over servers. We meant to start on September the 1st. I'm now in October. I don't even understand the emails, frankly. So thank God there's people doing it. But boy, oh boy, jeez, I could fly to the moon quicker than it takes. It's just a night. Neil understands the tech stuff. avoid it like the plague because it's boring as hell, but it's incredibly necessary. Anyway, why do we push the way that we push ourselves? Julie Voice says this, formerly of Houston, now of Guildford. I work much better under pressure. Yes. And Elizabeth, yes, me too. You're dead a long time. Yes, you are. What is this? Does anyone... Random question. Could you read this out, Neil? You'll make more sense of it than I will today.
By all means. Does anyone find the Monday shave as a tone setter for their day?
I don't understand that.
No, but we all need our own tone setters.
Let me see if I'm understanding. Neil, help me out. I'm lost here. Dave, are you saying that if you shave on Monday, that's like, right, I'm ready for the week? Is that what you're saying? Is that what you mean? It's an interesting question. What does everybody do here? Listening and watching to Neil and myself all over the world, what do you do to start your day that gets you in the right frame of mind? Because, as Neil could explain in a million different ways, the right frame of mind sets the tone for how your day is going to go.
Indeed. Your day doesn't control your mood. Your mood controls your day.
How's your mood?
Average.
Okay. Bonjour, François. Bonjour, François. Comment allez-vous? J'espère bon. That's my schoolboy French coming to the absolute fore. And all right, I think we've got it exactly with an interesting spelling. Exactly, says Dave Sleep. Okay. Can I tell the story of the famous American admiral? It's about setting the day. I've said it before, but I will say it again. Is that he was giving out a huge speech to the passing out parade? I think it was at Indianapolis, not Indianapolis, wherever the hell the U.S. Navy's main thing is, Annapolis, I think it is, and he's a decorated, much respected, very senior admiral in the American Navy. This was only a few years ago, and he said the important thing to start your day is by making your bed. You start with something as small and as simple as making your bed correctly, because if you've done that, one, you've started and completed a task well. Two, it says something about you, that you have pride. And three, knowing that's behind you and that you've done that, you can go on to achieve other things. And on the face of it, it seems terribly simple, but it makes a hell of a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense.
It's whatever. It sounds so general, but it really is whatever works for you.
Well, that's true. It is. Azadon Brown in New York State says, I start my day with meditations, physical exercise, and breathing exercises. That's very good. I have borrowed something from you, Neil Long.
What's that?
Well, I dragged the question from you, and you would. You've been talking for ages about gratitude. So I started my day today, and I was feeling pretty wound up. There's a hell of a lot to be done, not a lot of time left between now and Christmas. It sounds ridiculous, but trust me, there's a lot to be done. And I thought, why don't I try this thing that Neil always bangs on about, gratitude? I've never tried it. Never. Not that I'm ungrateful, but I've just never done it the way you suggested it. You said
never done a sort of conscious, deliberate practice of it. Yeah.
No, never done it. And I thought, well, Neil knows what he's talking about. We're very different as people because he's much more. He reads all this stuff. I don't. But I thought I'm going to give it a go. And so before I started my day, I thought I want to think of 3 things, which I'm not going to reveal what they are, that I'm grateful for. And I concentrated, hoping I've got it right, the Neil Long way, of just thinking about it and acknowledging it. And I thought, you know what? Yeah, I feel better. I'm still aware of what needs to be done. That's not going to go away anytime soon. But that's lists, and you work through it methodically. But I felt better in my head. And if it makes any sense, better in my heart. Why does it work, Neil?
Because you're putting your focus on what you appreciate and what you want, rather than what you lack and what you don't like. One is resistance, which will not feel good, pushing against things. And the other one is resistance free, which is appreciating things.
It's really is interesting how it can make it. And Neil knows, because we've known each other, God knows how many years. And you know, it's an open secret. I'm a complete cynic about most things. You know, it's like, really? You know, this is just psychobabble nonsense. But it's really interesting how very simple things can cause a real shift in your head.
And remember, the root of the word, it's got the same root as grace, and it's got the same root as gratis, meaning free.
Say that again.
Gratis
Gratis
the same
is
root,
free.
the same etymology, the same root as our word gratis and free and grace.
Oh. Asa says this. Would you care to read it out, Neil?
I've watched the video you speak of. My parents taught me to make my bed first thing, and I'm passing it down to my own children. It makes a tremendous difference on one's mindset. I know what you mean. And it's also nice to go up to a bed that's fresh and made, isn't it?
It is. But, you know, it says something. Oh, you're going to have to explain this to me because Sleep Boy has lost me. It says something about your mindset. You know, if you're working in a room that's chaos. All right, I can't speak generally. I'll speak for myself. I don't know about you, Neil, but if you're working in a room that's chaos and you look around and you go, Jesus, freaking mess. Very hard to order your thoughts and work creatively or work well.
Yes, absolutely. One sort of feeds into the other.
Now, what does this mean? Conscious connectivity.
He just means connecting to something that feels good deliberately.
Oh, that's what it means?
Yep. Simple as that.
Well, it's as simple as that. So if you think, the gratitude thing actually blew me away this morning. I've been toying with the idea, and because if I do it, and then you get negative thoughts about it. It really did. It was nice.
The thing is, we've got this belief that things have to be difficult and complicated. Our lives tend to be complex, so therefore we think the simple solution, it's almost silly. That's for children. Do you know what I mean?
I do.
But notice how in the moment most children are. Something happens, they've moved on. Next thing.
Yeah. They forget about it. Well, they get distracted. I mean, I'm the king of getting distracted. I'm the worst. Very difficult to have a conversation with me sometimes because my mind, in my head, I've answered your question. I've moved on to the next thing, but I actually haven't. Something really embarrassing happened to me. I was on the tube all the time and rushing through stations, and I had a load of meetings last week. This week's the same. And I was so preoccupied with what I was thinking. I thought I was saying it in my head. Turned out I was saying it aloud in a tube station.
Jeez. Good God.
People.
What were you saying? Can you tell us?
Well, I can't do the full language. There was a terrible busker. There's official buskers. And it was just terrible. And I like a lot of those buskers because they're really good. They're talented musicians. Some of them are fabulous. But this one was rubbish. And I just was walking through and go, just shut the up. I thought I'd said it in my head. People spun around.
Oh, no.
I was walking through, just shut the F up.
And did he?
No, of course not. Neither should he. It was just what was going on.
Oops.
And the other thing is, if I'm on the bus or I'm on the tube and people are listening to their phone, not on a phone call, but they're listening to something like a YouTube and they're not wearing earphones, which is just bloody rude. What do they cost? £4 or something? Shut up. I don't want to hear your stuff. And I usually sit in my head, I'm going, really? Really? And I really, last week, I was actually sitting in the train tube carriage going, really? And I thought I was just thinking it. It's embarrassing, isn't it? Jesus.
How do you get the
Neil's thinking, what the hell am I?
train carriages to yourself?
The trick is, I don't know. It's not always. I got to tell you that recently there've been, oh my God, the heat down there. City, calm with your environment. Go in there with a thermometer, matey. See how hot those train carriages are. Apart from the Elizabeth line, which is magnificent. Well, the others are disgusting. How do I get it? Because wherever I'm going, either end, it's the end of the line. Some people,
Yeah.
literally. What is Dave saying, Neil? What is he saying here? Please explain it. Break it down for us.
Okay. Dave is saying, one moment, I lost you for a second. Where are you?
Okay, I'll read it out.
Oh, I've got it.
So
chaos breaks or makes connectivity harder.
Hmm.
When we connect consciously, we find it easier to achieve our point of focus. Do you mean in a sort of meditative way?
it's very grand, Dave. Explain, if you're sitting, you've got a load of stuff to write. Put this into terms that an idiot like me can understand. Because I figure if I can understand it, everyone can understand it. It's how I go through life.
I think it's just he's talking about order over chaos. And in order and focus, we can achieve our objectives more easily, which makes sense if we're not constantly distracted all the time, of course.
So chaos breaks, excuse me, breaks or makes connectivity harder. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Got it.
When I first read that, I thought you meant it can either make or break it, but you mean the same, don't you? It breaks or makes it harder, same thing.
Yeah. When we can connect consciously, we find it easier. All right, I'm with you. Francois Pascal, always lovely to hear from you. Looking forward to seeing you on the 5th. Every morning when I wake up, why do I do that? Every morning when I wake up, I'm grateful to, she must be so tired of it, to see another day. Oh my God, Francois, sweetheart, I'm so with you. I never take it for granted. Neil, you might. I don't. I'm grateful to see another day and be alive to speak to my grandchildren. Yeah. Well, we're in Texas. So they are my reason for living. Oh, are they really? Wow. That's nice. I think it's nice. Is it, Francois, is that nice, or is it putting all your eggs in one basket? I mean, I love my kids. I absolutely adore them. I can't pretend that they're my reason for living, because they've got their own lives and getting on and doing all their stuff and changing the world in their own special way. It's interesting, that. Getting back to things more normal. That trays were full when you got out, you get on, but when you start blurting out things, they want to start to change. Oh God, my favorite. I don't know if you've seen it. If you're on the London Tube and suddenly a whole band gets on and plays. I mean, a whole band. Although a woman just wandered up playing a guitar horrendously, stood there, and I thought, I would pay you to go away. I really would. Just and no one has any change anymore. I never have.
If I see buskers, I go, can you do Stairway? I actually had a whole carriage applauding once because he went, bow, 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 bow. And we went, yay! It was really good.
That was, can you do Stairway? My favourite busker. And
I went all Wayne's World on him.
I was Wayne's World. I remember. I think you were there. Did you come to the press showing, one of the press showings of Wayne's World back in the day? I was sitting next to Pat Sharp.
But I loved the film.
Oh, it was years ago. But I was sitting next to Pat Sharp. We were all invited. We all went along. No one had seen it yet. I thought he was going to wet himself. I've never known anybody laugh. So it hit Pat so hard. He was just laughing. Why doesn't he look any older? Bloody Pat Sharp.
It's very funny. The funniest bit in Wayne's World 2 is the YMCA bit. I cried with laughter at that bit.
I don't remember it. I don't remember that. Interesting.
You'll know what I mean.
Now, Elizabeth Green.
We have mariachi bands on the subway. Is it mariachi or mariachi?
Mariachi. I'm killing myself here. Mariachi bands. What have you seen the videos of what's going on in New York with the rain last week?
No.
Did you see them? Oh my God. I flick through YouTube because there's news and there's various channels that I like. One bizarrely called Kentucky Ballistics. What the hell? I live in London. What use is Kentucky Ballistics to me? I wouldn't know one end of a gun from another. Not entirely true, I would actually. But what was I saying? Oh, yes. So they said, the Dame nature got its own back on New York. So it started to rain. We're pretty used to that in London. This is New York, Long Island, Brooklyn, and the Tri-Borough area. The cars couldn't get through the water. That's how high the water was. Couldn't get through it. It was unbelievable. Never seen anything like it. If you haven't seen it, take a look at the deluge last week in New York. It was unbelievable. Record amount of rainfall in the shortest time. Can I
ask a question to our clever listeners?
Of course you
I've
can.
just got a new iPhone and I've backed it up in the cloud. All right, the old one. And this is before I came on today. I was trying to back up, transfer it back out the cloud into the new one, and it says enter your iTunes password. So I did. I know what it is. I know it's correct, but it says the password's incorrect. What am I doing wrong?
Because they're bastards. That's why.
That's helpful. That's the solution I was looking for. Thank you.
No. Longy, this happens to me. You know your password. Jesus. The point about passwords is the machine is asking you to prove that you're not a machine. Fuck off. Anyway, you know it's correct, and it says, no, it's not correct. And then you get into this loop.
But it is correct. I know it's
hours. Correct. It takes hours. It's just crap. There's no rhyme or reason to it. It's just an utter nonsense. Just utter nonsense. It's infuriating. This is good. Stephen Marsh, accountant to the stars. We have Marble Arch.
Very much so, yes.
Marble Arch. Doesn't take much to amuse me, does it? A mariachi band played in our local Mexican restaurant. Their rendition of... I can't even finish reading this. Their rendition of Life on Mars. The Bowie song, Life on Mars, played by a mariachi band. Bonkers is that? Back to the torrential downpour in New York. It was mostly downtown and Brooklyn, but it rained for 5 days. I've never seen anything like it. It looked like, on the news report, you see India or Pakistan or someplace, and it's absolutely flooded and people are wading up to their, waists. That's what it looked like. It looked absolutely like it. Would you care to read this out?
We had a downpour here, but unlike NYC, we're approximately 1737 feet, 529 meters above sea level.
Don't you love the way that Aza goes? We're approximately 1,737 feet, 529. That's not approximate. That is not approximate. We're approximately Hampstead Heath above sea level. I mean, that's approximate, fella. And some very good advice coming in from someone I think called Liz Saul. Get a Samsung.
Not helpful, Liz. Not helpful. It's the same bloody password. Why doesn't it work?
Doesn't like you. That's the problem. You didn't use NLP. New Longy password. That's what it stands for.
You beat me to it. I was going to say that.
New Longy password. Anybody else? I got a quick question. It is Kimmy, which I try to forget. I got a question. Anybody else ever dealt with Wizz Air? WIZZ. Anybody else dealt with
No,
Wizz
I've heard
Air?
of them. Are they any good?
I'm trying to get my money back. I'll leave it there for the time being. Wizz Air. Jeez. I was meant to be going somewhere and the plans have all gone utterly sideways. I was meant to be joining my daughter somewhere and it's all gone horribly wrong because she's up for a huge award for podcasting. Wow. It's like the Golden Globes, Emmys, BAFTAs of podcasting, and she's got to be back in town for 10. She may or may not win. I hope she does. It'd be great. Yes, I know, Kimmy. I don't Yeah, birthdays I just want to forget now. Yes, I'm just getting older. What does this mean? Yes. What is that? Yes. She's like the Yoko Ono of MRS, your mate. Yes. Do you know why I say that? Do you know why I say that, Liz?
Go on.
How John Lennon met Yoko Ono? How did that work out? How John Lennon met Yoko Ono was that she had an art exhibition.
Yeah.
And in the middle of the gallery was a step ladder, and you had to climb up the step ladder. Yeah, because I'm going to do that. And at the top on the ceiling, it just said, yes. Mind you, I probably had relationships based on less. What do we got here? Wizz Air at the word. Oh, God, no. Thank you, Graham. That makes me feel confident. Wizz Air are the worst at getting money back, according to Graham Pack. I have no idea whether it is or not, and I think they're being investigated by the CAA, Civil Aviation Authority, and not the concert artists. What's it called? CAA, Concert Artists Association, the funniest club I've ever been to in Covent Garden. Right. What is this? What is this? Neil.
Yeah.
Oh, Kimmy. Yeah, no, that was me mucking about because Phil Dave, one of the most articulate, erudite people that I know, cannot say Dave D, Dozy, Beaky, Mick, and Titch. I don't know why. He just can't say. He just can't say it.
Yeah, we did play them this morning. Yes, indeed.
We did. I just said it. Not half popping is all right. A little bit of Dave D, Dozy, Beaky, Mick, and you know who, all right. Alan Freeman, the greatest. The greatest. What a man. What a fantastic human being he was. And just one of my absolute idols. Now, where were we? Okay, so getting yourself in order, a little bit of tidiness. Do you make lists? Wasn't a rhetorical question.
But I had so many at one point. I kind of had lists of lists that needed listing. It was ridiculous.
That's not doable, you see. I set myself like Monday. What have I got here? I've got this. This is what it says. It's my list. Well, you can't see it. I got 3 things to do on it. Obviously, I got a lot more than 3 things, but 3 key things, and cross them off. And something that was taught to me ages ago, and it's really true. If you write a little list, and it doesn't have to be like every single thing you're going to have to do, but if you write a little list and you cross it off once you've done it, it gives you a sense of achievement. Doesn't matter how small. It could be, it doesn't matter what it is. It could be a little tiny thing. It doesn't have to be, change the world, grow a forest. It could be a little thing. And you cross it off, and you get a sense of satisfaction and a sense of achievement and a sense of being propelled forward. Yeah, I've done that. Hooray. I'm not a complete failure. I've done that. I can move on to the next thing. I think it's kind of important. Some advice coming in from you. If Longy goes onto iCloud and you put in your email address, you can then click a link that says forgotten password.
No, but I think it's a different password. It must be.
It's infuriating. It's happened to me. And suddenly it says, oh, you can't send emails. What do you mean? I'm touched. I haven't even touched the machine. It's just infuriating. Oh, God. Well, this isn't good. Neil, this is for you.
I do a list of my husband each day while I'm at work that'll teach him to be retired.
Poor Mr. Lashmore. The big question is, Kimmy, what happens if that list hasn't been completed? Are there repercussions? Is there, stringent boycotts of food? Or what happens? Or he just goes, yeah, haven't done the list. What are you going to do about it, Kimmy? I'm sure your husband isn't like that, but that was just one of my hilarious characters. What do we got here? He's back. He's on fire today. Up in 5.
Mindset by the Victorian education system.
Listing. Wow. So is that a good, Dave? Is that a good thing or a bad thing? I have no idea. It's a good. I don't know. I don't think learning lists, absolute sodding waste of time, right? Writing lists and working your way methodically through stuff you got to get, doesn't matter what it is, take out the bins, bring in the wash. I don't know. It doesn't matter. It's irrelevant what it is. It just is. Oh, this is much nicer. A honey-do list. She's good, that Julie voice. I think the time in Houston. I think
the honey-do list.
Houston. Yeah, her time
That's
in
an
Houston
Americanism,
served her well.
Until you've lived
Hey,
in America,
honey-do.
Julie.
I've never heard of it, but it's very good. Uh-oh, Kimmy's coming back. Don't ask. So, haven't done my list. Hope you're not hungry because there's no dinner for you tonight. Oh God, what have we got here? Oh God, no, it's not fun. No, I hate my birthday, Francois. I hate it. I'm sure you'll have a bon anniversaire, but I freak out at my birthday. All right, anyway, moving on. Neil.
I'm a list and orientated person. I not only write the list, but I'm consciously aware of my list.
Wow. I'm a list and goal. I like the fact that you're a goal-oriented person. I get that. I not only write consciously aware of the list. Well, I'm not aware of it because I've written the list, so I know I've got to work my way through it. Elizabeth, my only answer to you is why? Why?
I like Michelle Obama.
Can't bear her. On the 15th, I'm going to see Michelle Obama speak. Christ. Oh, good luck to you then. I hate mine too. Well, there we go. We can both sit there going, what's she saying? Kimmy says, I'm in the staff room laughing. All right, I'm going to answer I'm going to answer back to Elizabeth Green. She says, on the 15th, I'm going to see Michelle Obama speak. Bill Burr, the American. Are you familiar with Bill Burr, the comic? You must be.
I know. Yes, we were talking about him in the comedy course yesterday.
All right. So there you go. Bill Burr. He goes, I'm not going to say exactly what he says because not even here I'm going to use that language, which is rare for me. But he goes, I didn't vote for you. I don't care about you. I voted for the person to either be president or not. I'm not interested in the wife. It's nothing to do. It's like getting and he says this, he goes, it's like getting a plumber and the plumber's wife turns up. He just does this whole routine about what the hell? You asked for a plumber. You want the plumber to turn up. You don't want the plumber's wife turning up who knows nothing about plumbing. They're making a fortune, the Obamas, an absolute bloody fortune.
Do you not like the Obamas?
Just jealous. Do I not like the Obamas? I think. All right, I'll be very honest. I think he is very handsome, a fantastic sense of humor, a great orator, phenomenal charisma. Would fill a room. A very charismatic man. Do I think he was a good president? No. Do I think I'd love to have dinner with him? Oh, yes. I'd love to meet him. I think he would be tremendous to meet. That's my. I have no views on Michelle Obama one way or the other because I don't care. I'm interested in the man who was president, not his family. It's an irrelevancy. I'm not interested.
Did you not find her quite inspiring?
No. Why would I find Michelle Obama inspiring? Why? On what level? That she goes on to late night talk shows and dances? I don't find that particularly inspiring. It's nice. She can shake a booty with the best of them. What was it? What was the bit that I was meant to be inspired by? Serious question.
I found them both quite inspiring people. I felt safer when he was president than when Trump was.
You felt safer? We're not going to get into it. Okay. What do you think is going to happen in the next election? Yeah.
I don't think he'll get back in. I hope not. Do you?
You hope not. Well,
That Trump won't get back in.
Should get back in. It's going to be.
You're talking about the
you hope
American
Trump
election.
won't get back in. I wouldn't. Yeah. No, this our next election is going. Oh, Christ, it's going to be like the Valentine Day massacre. It's going to be. It ain't going to be pretty. That's for damn sure. It's going to be an absolute rout. Elizabeth, well, great. Lots of people care about young people. I was Chief Barker of Variety Club for years. I spent 20 years as a trustee of Variety, the children's charity. I don't care about young people. I don't charge, $250,000 to do a speech. Elizabeth, all of these cases against Trump, all right, I really don't want to get into politics, for God's sake, but all of these, where are they amounting to? What are they? We're going to do this. We're going to do that. We found documents. Whatever happened to that? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. They find documents in Joe Biden's garage in his car. What happened? Nothing. That's not the same thing, is it? They're all terrible. They're all terrible people. They're all. Yeah, I know. In court, Elizabeth. I know it. I do follow the news. What have we got here? She comes across as a great parent, a supportive wife. They both seem cool. Yeah. I'm being very careful and not saying anything. They don't, but you have to appear certain ways to be president, rise to the top of American politics. We could talk about it for hours, but we're not going to, quite frankly, because that's got nothing to do with mental health, although it's beginning to affect mine, I tell you, mine. So, right, you can't get into your phone. Your comedy gig went very well. What luck with getting Stephen K. Amos on the show? Because I really do like.
I've messaged him.
With mental health. It'll cheer us up.
I will definitely ask. I have messaged him.
It's funny. This is interesting. Dave Sleet up in Fife says this. Scotland, if you don't know where Fife is. America needs a Brewster's Millions Richard Pryor candidate. Well, I chat to Richard's daughter Rain every day. In fact, we were going to do a podcast, and then she got so busy with her work, and then so did I. We had to shelve it for the time being. She's amazing, and we send lots of love to Richard Pryor Jr., who's just come out of hospital, just had a massive operation. So I was chatting to him too. They're the image. They look exactly like Richard Pryor, and
really,
so oh yeah, they look just like And I said that it must be extraordinary having a father who changed the face of comedy. Because no Richard Pryor, there'd be no Eddie Murphy, and there'd be none of it. There'd be none of it. He broke the mold. He smashed the door down. Without him, I think so much would not have happened.
Well, he was controversial at first, wasn't he?
Hugely. He always was controversial. Well, he went. Oh, well, we'll talk about it. Okay. I mean, George Carlin and Richard Pryor.
He was good as well.
To start, they were brilliant. Brilliant. Two of my comedic absolute heroes. And when they started, they were doing, the family shows on TV, and the hair was all slick, and it was all the bow ties, and doing little catchy numbers and all the rest of it. And they both had a sort of road to Damascus moment, which I think happens to many of us. And we think, well, they thought, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm not being true to myself. And they became the people that they really were. And yeah, it was hugely controversial, but they said the things that they felt deeply about.
On the course,
Lenny Bruce.
I'm on at the moment with Jeff Innocent. He says about being authentic. He says, I've been through this stage of wanting to be controversial, wanting to be this, wanting to be that. But he says it's really about authenticity and finding your own voice. Yeah, you could do something that's funny, but it's not necessarily authentically you. And he's really hot on that. And it's almost quite, in a way, what we talk about here. Yeah.
It's important.
Quite a lot.
It's really important, because if it's not the real you, I'm going to say two things about this, if I may, and then Neil, please jump in. with the new stand-up that I'm doing, which is called Unwise but Not Illegal. Only one person seems to have got the reference. I push the boundaries. I push the boundaries a lot, and people say that's not us, but it is in my head. It's the sort of riffs that I think of in my head, and some people were going, "That is way too far." Well, you'll see, and some of it's very gentle, but that makes all of us up, you know. That makes all of Neil and I, having been in the biz for a long time, have met people who, when the camera stops or when the microphone's off, are nothing like their on-screen or on-air personas, and they're monsters or massive depressed. I mean, they're nothing like it, and I think that's terrible for your mental health. I think it's terrible. You don't agree? You do agree? What do you feel?
I think in its healthiest form, like when I DJ, it's a similar persona to what I have now, but much more up and at 'em.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Sure.
The style of presenting would be too intense for something like this, which is why I don't do it. But again, when I'm doing comedy songs on stage, again, completely different.
Completely huge energy, huge.
And I like the big energy, but to be, and perhaps their authentic self comes out when they're on stage. Perhaps it's this. It poses the question: which is the real self, the depressed one or the joyful one on stage? Who's the real one? Which one do you want more of?
They're both us. You. I'm trying not to say you. They're both that person. What I was getting to is to sort of dig down a little bit deeper. When people will appear nice and lovely, there's two different thought patterns going on here. One is they're all there. The nation's no. One is like, oh, it's the nation's favorite. I bet he or she's cuddly and lovely. No, and the camera stops. And they're monsters. They're really horrible, horrible people, and it's an act. That's one aspect of it, because they're just horrible people. Fair, and they treat people badly. And the other is if you fake it the whole time with a fake persona, I think that beats you up. I can't see how that's good for you at all.
Then eventually you lose your sense of self. You kind of lose your. It sounds a bit weird and religious, and I'm not that way, and I don't mean it that way. But you kind of lose your soul or the essence of who you are, the true essence.
Correct. Yeah.
If you know what I mean, and I don't mean lose it in the sense that it can be lost, but in the sense that you're so disconnected from it, you wouldn't recognize it if it came up and bit you on the bum.
Yep.
And sometimes it can take a catastrophe or something to wake people up.
Kind of. But it's
the road to Damascus moment, if you like.
But if you're comfortable when you're off, if you're a performer, when you're off, that's it. You're not on the whole time. There's nothing worse. Neil and I both know loads of people who just won't switch it off, and you think, mate, it's me. Stop it. Just talk like normal people. You don't have to do that. But if you're aware that you can switch it on when you need to, that's okay. That's your trick. You don't expect Max Verstappen to drive down the Finchley Road at 200 miles an hour. No, of course you don't. Because when he's not in his car, he's not in the Red Bull, he's going to drive like normal people. You're not on the whole time. It's a sort of rubbish example, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a real thing. You know, I've seen people being violently sick in the Wings Theatre and walk on and do a brilliant set or something, come back and they're being violently sick again. It's incredible.
Back in the day, I remember stories of, I won't name anyone, but it was the day of, and I'm not saying it was Phil Jupiter's, but that era of comedians. And apparently they'd be like thrown up like at the back of the comedy store because they were terrified. But then they would go on and do an incredible set. I've never experienced nerves like that.
I've I have to find ways to control them.
How do you do it?
I'll tell you in a sec. Sue Sleep, up in Fife as well, says, and then she was having to do this as her job, by the way. Right, let's be clear. Excuse me. Some of the worst child abusers I ever worked with presented as oh my God. Just reading this makes me actually feel, joking aside and being serious, it makes me feel nauseous. Some of the worst child abusers I ever worked with presented as the nicest person within the community. I guess that's how they get away with it. I think the whole point of my book, The Gatekeeper, was that evil doesn't present itself, doesn't come walking up, New Malden High Street with fire coming out of its nostrils and huge horns and a face that scares the crap out of you. It looks charming. It looks inviting. That's how evil works. That's how it works. So how the hell Jimmy Savile got away with it is a miracle. Not being facetious. But that's the point about evil, isn't it? It doesn't present itself as horrendous. It presents itself as really very nice and very lovely. And then you realize, oh my God, this is totally evil. Hang on. What have we got here? Neil.
White line fever. I keep hearing that and I keep forgetting what it means. Can you explain it to me again, please, Dave?
I don't know what white line fever is. I know what cat scratch fever is because it's Ted Nugent. This is all connected to conscious connectivity and is a major part of enhancing white line fever. I like the name. I don't know what it means. Here we go. This is good. This is good, Neil. Would you agree with this? Neil Long. Evil is the ultimate narcissistic psychopath. Yeah. What do you think?
Yeah, because we're presented as charming.
It's awful. Awful. God, I've met some. The last, I do a podcast and it's released every Friday. Walk the Talk, the Hero's Journey. And we did Samantha Lee Howe, who's the best-selling novelist and got films out and everything. And we called the podcast, it was the week before last, My Father Was a Paedophile. My father was a paedophile. And I got to tell you, I've been doing this many, many years, and it really pushed me to the limit to listen to what Sam Lee Howe was saying. It's fascinating, you can always find it. But boy, turn my stomach. When you know somebody and there's,
it's
horrible. The ultimate narcissistic psychopath. You're not wrong, fella. You're not wrong. Be lovely to meet Aza one day. I hope he comes to the UK. You tell me. We all want to be loved.
I do too.
All want to. Why am I hearing myself? Am I coming out of your speakers or something, Neil? I can hear myself again.
I can hear you normally.
It's weird. I can hear an echo. We all want to be loved. Drives many things. Yes. But you don't want to be desperate about it.
But what if you were already the love that you needed? Maybe it's self-love. And then you don't need anything from anyone else. If we were all, and it's a journey for all of us, but if we all loved and accepted ourselves entirely, then you wouldn't really need anything from the outside. And then you can just play together. And then the narcissist can't get in because you don't need anything for them, because their hook is something that you need from them. Always.
That's so true, isn't it? That's so true. It's something that you feel you lack that they are offering. Is that about right?
Yeah.
That's kind of it.
Or they make you feel a certain way because they can read you. If I knew someone liked to be affirmed all the time and I was a narcissist, I would affirm them all the time. And then you try and make them feel as if they can't live without it. And then you sort of take away other people or other sources they might use for support. and then you've kind of got them cornered, and then it becomes a dependency, or because they want to control, and that speaks of a massive lack in themselves, and they try and fill it by parasiting off other people.
It is horrendous if it's ever happened. It's just revolting.
And I will add, if they loved themselves, they wouldn't do that. They wouldn't need to.
If you
don't need to. If you are, Elizabeth, if you are whole and complete, I am lovable, I am enough. One of the most famous hypnotists in the world has worked with loads of celebrities. Her name's Marissa Peer, and she worked with a big Hollywood celebrity who on paper had everything, and then, but the core of his issue was, I'm not enough. I'm not enough. And as soon as that was healed, he could go on and just be a normal person. You are lovable, Elizabeth, and you are enough, and that's the truth of it. It's not like you've got to become something that you're not. It's a question of realizing what you already are. Yes.
And here's the nub of it all. Well, Asa wholly agrees, but Elizabeth, the nub of her issue is this. I was brought up without it, she says.
Fair,
wow.
But it still doesn't mean that you're not enough, because other people told you that, and because you've lived that pattern for a while believing that, doesn't make it an ultimate truth. What part of you is not enough? Which bit?
Height.
You got the same. You got brain. You got software. You got hardware, like the body and the machine. Which bit isn't enough compared to another human?
Well,
which bit specifically?
Does it come down?
Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, totally. I wonder if some of
well, can I just do this for a second?
Go ahead. Go on.
You. Yeah, we all have triggers. I've got a mentor. I go to his online calls. It's personal development. You could call it spirituality, but not religious. And it's all about personal growth. If you like the concepts we talk about here, it's that taken to a deeper level. And he will say a trigger, in a sense, is when we're very young, we learn coping strategies, and we take those coping strategies out into the world. And that's true as well, Sue. Children will believe the concrete fact until something happens where they realize that, they just don't feel good, or they can't succeed in relationships, or something, whatever. And then the triggers come up, but it's good that they come up, because then they can be processed and released. And the unconscious mind kind of protects you, because remember, the unconscious mind's prime directive is survival. Yeah.
Yep.
It's quite primitive in that way. It's to survive. And when you were young, it wouldn't be that hard to believe, particularly given sort of our evolution, that that you needed other people, that if you were thrown out the tribe, you would die. And we've still got a little bit of that in us, if you know what I mean.
Yep.
But when we come to realize that we are adults and we are safe and we are enough, then we have the resources we need for these triggers to come up, maybe working with a good therapist or whatever, to process it, take the positive learnings, release it, and then move on as an empowered adult that does accept themselves and realizes the truth of who they always were. You're not fighting against this lacking thing. It's a bit like religion, in the sense that some people believe that there's a God that's perfect and we've all got to catch up. When the truth of spirituality is you're already everything you need. You already are. It's just a question of realizing that. Does that make sense?
It does. It does. Should we read this out? Would you like to read this out? Because we asked the question about white line feet.
There's a lovely comment from Elizabeth. When you work in a defined space, like a sports field, a stage, you have a performance. The spaces where you cross the white line, the performance is the spaces of virtual fever. Yeah. Nothing else matters in the space except the performance. Yes, I know where I've heard it before now. I use the term Dr. Theatre. Same thing. Conscious connectivity in the space protects from the performance, bleeding into the disconnect outside the performance space. Yes.
All right. Now I get it. And you're absolutely right. And
I'm glad you're winning, Elizabeth. And I ate for comfort. You see, but eat because you enjoy eating. Comfort is one thing, food is another. Do you see what I mean?
It is. And on that culinary note, that bombshell, that's it. We're out of time. Neil, as always.
And Elizabeth, I send you love as well, as we all do. We've all got your back here. I like to think we've all got each other's backs here when we talk about mental health. It's a great leveler, isn't it?
And Erica.
I'd love a list from my
I'd love a list from my husband. All right. See you on Wednesday. Till then, stay out of trouble. Bye, gang.
Good